All right. So, Mr. President, sir, let me mention it clearly to the president. I know these media people will communicate it to him. The young persons that you saw on the street were not against you as a person. They are only not comfortable on the manner at which your policies are being run. You run a policy, you must have robust conversation with people on how these policies are to be run. And secondly, you don't get to make a policy before you begin to discuss how that policy will be implemented. Policies has process. It's a procedural thing. The first thing to come about policy is to ask, is there a problem? What is the problem? Yes, a lot of people come to our country, they steal our money in the name of a subsidy and high level of corruption. When you address that, what do? We nip this thing. How do you nip it? Can we get people to sit down and discuss it? When they discuss it, then you are going towards a direction. What is the direction? What do? What do you do is now the policy that you are formulating. And how do we implement this thing we do is the future of the policy. This policy must take stages. You must tell us that on Monday next week, there will be no light. But before there is no light, I'm going to allow you guys have diesel. Begin to stock your fridge. Ensure everything you have is frozen. So that if Monday the power goes off, by Tuesday your things are not bad. People don't go to sleep at night and you wake up in the morning and say subsidy, gone. And after telling us subsidy is gone, you start telling us how you want to implement subsidy that is gone. It's already gone. You should have told us what you will do first. I will prepare our mind for when it will go. And I still do not feel that government should be very comfortable to tell us that people should continue to make sacrifice when there is no sense of sacrifice, even in the public space, by those people that are asking us to make sacrifice. It doesn't make any sense. So we must tell ourselves the truth. As much as we as young people must take responsibility tied to our action, government too must also be seen to be serious, letting us know that this thing they want to do is truly with all sense of intent and purpose. My brother spoke about the military presence in protests. I will tell you clearly that there are rules of engagement. The worst thing that can happen to a country is when you have security agencies have disjointed reportage in forms of communication to the people as an outcome of protests. I remember clearly that as it stands up until just now, some of these agencies are still refused to agree to the fact that they killed young persons in this country. No life is worthless, no matter what that thing is. That life is a citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And if one's soul is terminated, either for peaceful protest or for whatever form of disgust, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria owe the Nigerian people an apology and a condolence to the family of these people. These things are not a reflection of what is happening. That is empathy. The police cannot be telling us that nobody is dead, and the army is accepting the fact that their officer accidentally shot somebody. How can you accidentally kill a human, somebody that has life? You call it accidental. And there's some misidea. People are not accidentally killing Boko Haram. You are not accidentally carrying out the direct firing on this bandit. But you can accidentally take the life of a young man that has taken to the street to protest. I do not think that such kind of things should be commended. Our security agencies globally must understand the fact that things have changed and there are conventional ways of engagement. If you are engaging citizens of your country, you don't engage them as if you are going for war or combative. You don't at any time tell people to go to one place and you are chasing them from that place you have sent them to. The law is clearly defined and stipulated that police has a duty for the protection of lives and property. And the same constitution says that any time a citizen wants to protest, that citizen must enjoy protection from the police. And so I want to beg our security agencies, the people that take to the street, if the price of commodities in the market change, it will not change for only those that went to the street. It will change for everybody. I must also understand the fact that you may be carrying a firearm today, tomorrow you will be retired, and you begin to feel the same pains these people feel. But what government must understand is that our generation yesterday may be a very peaceful and tolerating generation. The way you dealt with us yesterday as government must not be the way you will deal with this generation, these Gen Zs. The way you dealt with us yesterday as a government must not think that that same methodology or that approach will work in dealing with this generation. This generation people are not as patient as we are. This generation people are looking for results. The Gen Zs want to see things work when they ask for it. The Gen Zs are comfortable and courageous to ask you questions when you have failed to give them answers. The Gen Zs will tell you that this thing must happen and you will not tell them to go and come back. The Gen Zs will tell you that this thing is happening in another country. There is no reason why it cannot happen in their country. The Gen Zs will tell you that if you say it cannot work, excuse them, let them get somebody that can make it work. So these are differences between yesterday and today. That we took to the streets to protest yesterday, you chased us with tear gas. We went into our houses and we rested. Does not mean that this generation, we chase them with tear gas, they will go in. So government must also be sensitive to the fact that the world is dynamic and things are changing. The methodologies of yesterday cannot be that will be used today to get the same results of yesterday. I feel that as young persons, before we talk about the generation of old, we must tell ourselves these truths that are bitter and naked ourselves, because if you want to go to equity, you must go to equity with clean hands. So we'll start directly with the recent unfolding. I do not know whether we are all aware that protest is not just a Nigeria thing, it's a global phenomenon. Every young person across the world, they are beginning to hold their government to account. Every young person globally are serious about what happens in their society. Every young person globally are concerned about how their country either remains backward or being mismanaged by bad leaders. Now, our case where we find our brothers and sisters taking to the streets to protest in the last days, I stand in strong solidarity with the position they took, without contradiction. But the only thing I was not comfortable about is the fact that there is no protest that doesn't have a face. Every protest must have leadership. And for a protest to succeed, there must be a definition of what you are pursuing and what you are protesting for. We had commanded several protests in the years back, and our protests had always been on the basis of ideology. I cannot say I want to lead a protest and I don't want people to know that I'm leading a protest. I'm not a coward. If I believe in a cause, I will stand for it. And the cause they were pursuing was a justifiable cause. So there was no basis for anybody to say, I don't want to be known that I'm fighting for a bad governance. Nobody said President Tinubu is a bad government, a bad person. We are only saying that the policies that characterize your government are inhuman. The policies that characterize your government are infringing on our fundamental reasons for existence. No matter how beautiful a policy is, if the policy does not have a robust conversation with stakeholders, it will not stand. And you cannot be running multiple policies on one particular set of people at the same time concurrently. You are running subsidy regime, you are running electricity tariff, you are running a custom tax, you are running everything at the same time. All these burdens are all levied on the shoulders of the citizens of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So people must cry. People must shout. People can't go to school. We must not pretend about this thing. People can't eat again in this country. Young persons are not happy that they are what they are. But the onus again still lies to the fact that every right comes with a responsibility. Your right to protest should also not infringe on the right of the other man that do not want to protest. You must not say that because you want to protest, every other citizen's right must be suspended for your right to take its course. Then you are practicing what you do not want people to preach. These are just the two parts I have slight dissentiment about the entire process. My brothers and sisters, we are the future of Nigeria. And if we do not own Nigeria as our project, I do not think that there is any other person that can lead and direct Nigeria for us. Some years ago, some of us had played our roles actively. It does not mean that we are tired. We have only hoped that young persons can drive this process better than the way we drove it yesterday. I remember instances when Olawale Ajani was president of National Youth Council of Nigeria. There were agitations that were genuine. There were things that they pursued robustly, ranging from the celebration of Nigeria at 50 to so many government policies that we did not find comfortable with ourselves. We resisted them and we made the government understand these are the bases upon which we do not agree with these policies that you have suggested. It doesn't mean that we don't like you as a government, because as citizens we hold our government accountable, and the only way you can hold your government accountable is to make suggestive suggestions. So the government is not coming to a country you are protesting, you are raising another nation's flag. I will not tolerate it even as a unionist. You can't come to my country and raise another country's flag in the pretext and in the disguise of protest. For what reason? Whatever intent and purpose. Nobody should encourage that and nobody should accept that. It is not us and it will never be part of us. We are Nigerians today, we are Nigerians tomorrow, and we'll be Nigerians for eternity. That is what we did not choose, but God has brought us into this country, and so we must cherish it. So somebody do not come into the name of protest and carry another country's flag for whatever reason and say that they are calling on the country to support who? Is that country independent of themselves too? They also have crises. Have you seen any citizen of that country raised up Nigeria's flag? They won't. Is it that our flags are inferior to theirs? If you are angry, be angry with your flag, raise your flag, because they told us that our flag is our symbol of our unity. So when you hold your flag, nobody in his right sense of mind should have any reason to undermine your presence. Then on the second leg of it, my dear brothers and sisters, as much as I know that we are where we are today, I will continue to state without fear or contradiction, I feel very empathetic and very sympathetic for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Reasons that the worst of all times to become president is the time he became president. The worst of all times. Any person among all those that contested for the president of this country would have been suffering what this president is suffering today. The only thing I suggest may have created some difference is the methodology upon which they have thrown up their policies. Other than that, the last president, General Muhammadu Buhari, took Nigeria 30 years backward. He destroyed our economy. He destroyed everything that was the fabrics of this country. And unfortunately, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is still finding it very difficult, so very economical, with the fact of telling Nigerians that this is what I inherited. This is the kind of government I inherited. And these are the challenges I'm having. And that is leadership. And that is what the Nigerian people are begging you for. See, Nigeria is one of the most easiest countries to govern. I'll tell you honestly, young persons in this country, if you take them anywhere, they are the best people in the world. You know why? All they need is leadership. All young persons beg for in this country is leadership. And the best form of leadership is effective communication. You can't tell me you want to build a future for us. We are not part of the conversation of the future you are building for us. You woke up, you told us you are removing the subsidy. You should have allowed us deal with the burden that goes with subsidy removal. Than to wake up another day, we are running into the electricity tariff. You wake up the other day, you are running into inconsistency in the forest. You are waking up the other day, custom has its own problem. All in the heads of these same young persons that are struggling to make ends meet, struggling to make their life focus, and struggling to seek direction. It won't work.